Maybe place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Or maybe place your hands on the outside of your ribs. And just start to notice your ribs expand out to the sides. Try to clear your thoughts and let go of any feelings, tension you're bringing into your practice today. And just let it all go. Maybe take a moment to set an intention for your practice today, whether it be to feel more grounded, maybe it's to feel more centered and calm, or maybe you just want a little more peace in your day. Don't think too hard, just go with what is the first thing that comes to your mind and set that as your intention for your practice. And slowly start to stretch your arms overhead, stretch out through your toes, come into a big morning stretch. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes and start to waken up your body. And then slowly walk your feet and your hands over towards the right side of your mat. You can just stay here, feel the stretch in your left side body, or if you'd like to go a little further, you can cross one ankle over the other, stack one hand on top of the other. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And walk your hands and feet back to center. Maybe take another big stretch here before walking your feet and your hands over towards the left side of your mat. Again, you have the option to cross your ankles and stack your hands, feeling the stretch in your right side body. Focus in on your inhales and your exhales. your hands and feet back to center. Hug both knees in towards your chest. You can rock side to side if that feels good for you. And then stretch both feet up towards the sky. Just take a moment to settle in here. You can start to point and flex your toes. You also have the option to circle your ankles. And then go ahead and circle your ankles in the opposite direction. And then just bring your feet back to stillness. Bend your left knee, cross your right ankle over your left knee. Clasp your hands behind your left hamstring or your shin. Hug in, come into reclined figure 4. Feel the stretch in your right outer hip. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. Release your hands, stretch your arms out to a T, and slowly drop your legs over towards the left side of your mat. Gaze over your right shoulder. Take a few cycles of breath here. Feel the twist in your spine. And come back to center. You can release your right foot back down to the mat. Pause here. And then hug both knees in towards your chest. Again, you can rock side to side if that feels good. And then come back to stillness and stretch both feet up towards the ceiling. Bend your right knee. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. Reach behind and clasp your right hamstring or your shin. Come into reclined figure 4. Feel the stretch in your left outer hip. Try to soften in. Invite your breath to release any tension you may be holding in that left hip. Take 2 more slow, deep breaths here. And release your hands, anchor your arms out to a T, and drop your legs over towards the right side of your mat. Gaze over your right shoulder. Stay here for a few slow, deep breaths. Stay here for 3 more cycles of breath. place your left foot back down to the mat. You can bring your knees into your chest and make your way up to a seated position. Stretch your feet out long in front of you. Come into staff pose. Ground down through your sits bones and sit up nice and tall. You can bend your right knee in towards your chest. Bring your arms out to a T and slowly twist at your hips. Bring your right arm behind you. Your left arm can bend. Elbow can press in towards your right knee. If this is too far, you can just bring your right arm down to the mat. For a little extra, go ahead and push your elbow into your knee, knee into your elbow. Twist a little deeper. Stay here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. And come back to center. Stretch your right leg out long. Hug your left knee into your chest. Bring your arms out to a T. Slowly twist at your waist. Drop your left arm behind you. Bend your right elbow. Place it on the outside edge of your left knee. Gaze over your left shoulder. On your inhale, grow tall through the crown. And on your exhale, twist a little deeper. Stay here for 3 more cycles of breath. And slowly come back to center. Stretch your legs out long. Bring your legs out to a wide angle. Make sure your thighs are externally rotated towards the back of the wall. Feet are flexed. Inhale, stretch your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Place your hands on the mat in front of you. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. Try to soften in. If you find you have more space, you can always walk your hands out further in front of you. And if you come to your edge and you like to back off, just walk your hands in closer to your body. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And slowly walk your hands in towards your body. Close your legs together. And you can come over onto a tabletop position or hands and knees. Make sure your wrists are in line with your shoulders, knees are in line with your hips. Your feet are planted down on the mat, toes pointing back towards the back of the mat. Just take a moment to settle in here in neutral spine. And then start to take a few cat-cows, tilting your pelvis and your heart forward, coming into cow pose. And then exhale, pull your belly button into your spine, arch your back, come into cat. Go ahead and move through a few of these cat-cows at your pace with your breath. come back to neutral spine. Pause here, and then stretch your right leg behind you. Make sure you have your weight evenly distributed between your knee and your two hands. And then slowly start to walk that right foot over towards the left side of your mat. Gaze over your right heel. We're stretching our IT band. Try to tighten your core, find stability here. Check in and make sure your weight is still evenly distributed. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And then walk your right foot back to center. Bend your right knee, place it back down next to your left. Stretch your left leg behind you. Go ahead and check in, make sure your weight's evenly distributed, make sure your alignment is correct, wrists in line with your shoulders, knee in line with your hip. And then slowly start to walk your left foot over towards the right side. Gaze over your left heel. Remember to breathe here. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And walk your left knee back to center. Place it next to your right. Bring your knees out wide, big toes together, sink your hips back, stretch your arms out forward, forehead comes to rest on the mat, come into child's pose. Stay here for a few slow, deep breaths. And make your way up to tabletop. Ground down through your right palm and your right knee. Step your left foot back, bring your left arm overhead. You can stay here or lift that left leg off the mat, bringing it to hip level. Stay here, tighten your core. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And place your left hand down on the mat, bring your left knee back down to the mat. Ground down through your left palm and your left knee, step your right foot back. Extend your right arm overhead. Again, you have the option to stay here or lift your right leg off the mat, bringing it to hip level. Find your balance here. Tighten through your core. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Try to stay with me. And bring your right hand down to the mat, right knee down to the mat. Go ahead and bring your knees out wide, big toes together, sink back, come into child's pose. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And make your way back up to tabletop. Place your right foot between your hands. Tuck your left toes under. Lift your left knee off the mat. Slowly walk your left foot back to the back of your mat. Drop your left knee, untuck your toes. Pause here. Feel the stretch in your left hip flexor. Ground down through your right foot and slowly rise up, stretching your arms overhead, shoulders away from the ear. Come into crescent lunge. Pause here. Grow tall through the crown. Hug in through the midline. And slowly start to drop your right arm behind you, left arm in front of you, bringing your arms parallel to the mat. Twist open to the right side. Stay here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And start to bring your arms back overhead, coming back to crescent lunge. Lower your hands down to frame your front foot. Tuck your left toes under. Lift your left knee off the mat. Step back to down dog. Take a moment to pause here. Maybe explore if this is your first down dog of the day. Take a moment to pedal your feet. Maybe come up onto your tippy toes and try to sink your heels lower. Just take a moment to explore. Stretch out through your calves. Feel your palms ground down. And then lower your knees back down to the mat, coming into tabletop. Place your left foot between your hands. Tuck your right toes under. Lift your right knee off the mat. Wiggle that right foot back. Lower your right knee. Untuck your right toes. Take a moment to set up here, rooting down through your left foot. Feeling a stretch in your right hip. Just pause here. And then slowly rise up. Bring your arms overhead, shoulders away from the ears. Stay nice and tall through the crown. Stay here for 3 slow, deep breaths. And then slowly start to lower your left arm behind you, right arm out in front of you, bringing your arms parallel to the mat, twisting open to the left side. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And then slowly start to bring your arms back overhead. Pause here in crescent lunge. And then lower your hands back down to frame your front foot. Tuck your right toes under. Lift your right knee off the mat. Ground down through your palms and step back to down dog. Take a moment to pause here. And then push forward to plank. Tighten through your core, engage your quads, and then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes, hands are right under your shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, peel your heart off the mat. Come into cobra. Stay here for a few slow, deep breaths, hugging your elbows in towards your body. lower your chest back down to the mat. Tuck your toes under, push back to down dog. Pause here. Lift your right leg high in the air. Bring your right heel towards your buttocks, opening through the right hip. Come in to a three-legged dog. Feel the stretch in your right side body. Make sure you check in with your weight being distributed through your hands. Straighten your right leg and then thread it through for a low lunge. Ground down through the soles of your feet and slowly rise up to high lunge. Extend your arms overhead, shoulders away from the ears. Take a moment to settle in here. Grow tall through the crown. And then anchor your left heel down. Bend into your right knee. Bring your arms parallel to the mat. Come into warrior two. Gazing over your right fingers. Flip your front palm. Slowly extend your right arm overhead. Left arm crawls down to your left calf. Come into reverse warrior. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And then start to bring your arms back up to parallel. Come into warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Hinge at your hips. Lower your right hand down to your shin, the mat, or a block. Come into triangle pose. Take a moment to pause here. Keep a slight micro bend in your right knee. Stack your shoulders. We're here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. Start to bend into your right knee, ground down through the soles of your feet, and rise up to warrior two. Windmill your hands back down to frame your front foot. Spin off your left heel. Place your left hand down on the mat. Stretch your right arm overhead. Twist open to the right side. Pause here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. And then lower your right hand down to frame your front foot. Ground down through your palms. Step back to down dog. Lift your left leg high in the air. Bring your left heel towards your buttocks, opening through your left hip. Check in. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed between your 2 hands. And then close your hip, straighten your left leg, come into three-legged dog. And thread it through for a low lunge. Ground down through the soles of your feet. Slowly rise up to high lunge. Arms overhead, shoulders melt away from the ears. Check in here. Make sure you're tightening through your core. Anchor your right heel down, spin your arms open to parallel. to the mat. Sink into the left knee, come into warrior two. Gaze over your left fingers. Pause here. And then flip your front palm. Slowly lift your left arm overhead, reverse your warrior. Stay here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Slowly come back into warrior two. Start to straighten your left knee. Hinge at your hips. Bring your left hand towards your shin, the mat, or a block. Come into triangle pose. Stack your shoulders. Gaze can be straight out in front of you or over your right hand. Stay here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Bend into your left knee. Slowly rise back up to warrior two. Pause here. And then windmill your hands back down to frame your left foot. Spin off your back heel. Place your right hand down on the ground. Extend your left arm overhead. Twist open to the left side. Pause here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. And then lower your left hand back down to the ground. Push down through your palms, step back to down dog. Push forward to plank. Tighten your core. Squeeze through your quads. And then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your feet. Push your tops of your feet into the mat. Come into cobra or up dog. And push back to down dog. Take a pause here. Inhale, reach your right leg high in the air. Exhale, thread it through for low lunge. Pause here. And then step your left foot up to meet your right. Bow forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep, arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, circle sweep, arms to sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep, arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Ground down through your left foot and slowly bring your right knee in towards your chest. Pause here and then slowly start to tilt forward. Kick your right foot back towards the back of your mat. Come into warrior three. You have the option to stay here, or you can extend your arms out in front of you or bring your arms to airplane wings. Root down through your left foot. Try to lift that right foot higher. Stay here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And then lower your hands down to the mat. Kick that right foot high in the air, come into standing split. Keep your right toes pointing down towards the mat. Stay here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. And then slowly lower your right foot down to meet your left and bow forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Pause here. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down, step back to down dog. Take a moment to check in here. And then lift your left leg high in the air. Exhale, thread it through for low lunge. Pause here. And then step your right foot up to meet your left and bow forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Root down through your right foot. Lift your left knee in towards your chest. Find your drishti or your focal point. Make sure you're rooted down through your right foot. Slowly start to hinge forward, kick your left foot back towards the back of the mat. Your toes can be flexed or pointed. Pause here. You can always extend your arms out in front of you or bring your arms to airplane wings or keep them at heart center. It's your practice. Try to lift that left leg higher. Engage your core. Stay with me for 3 more deep breaths. And lower your hands down to the mat. Kick that left leg high in the air, come into standing split. Root down through your standing leg. Keep your left toes pointing down towards the mat. We're here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. And then lower your left foot down to meet your right and bow forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Pause here. Maybe close your eyes. Check in. Maybe recall your intention. Bring your focus to that. And inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back to down dog. Take a moment to pause here. And reach your right leg high in the air. Exhale, thread it through for low lunge. Take a moment to pause here. And then step your left foot up to meet your right. Bow forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Bring your big toes together. Leave a little space between your heels, maybe a fist width. Slowly sink your hips down and back. Hands at heart center. Come into chair pose. Take a big breath in, growing tall through your crown. And on your exhale, hook your left elbow on the outside edge of your right knee. Come into chair twist. Option to stay here or drop your left hand down to the mat and extend your right arm overhead. Or you can have your hands in towards your chest. Stay here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And release your hands down to the mat. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant our palms down, step back to down dog. Take a moment to pause here. And lift your left leg high in the air. Exhale, thread it through for a low lunge. Pause here and step your right foot up to meet your left. Bow forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Bring your big toes together, little space between your heels. Sink your hips down and back, come into chair pose. Inhale, grow tall through your crown. And on your exhale, hook your right elbow on the outside edge of your left. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. You can keep your hands here at prayer or drop your right hand down to the mat, extend your left arm overhead. Stay with me for 2 more cycles of breath. And then bring your hands down to the mat, stretch your legs out, fold forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shin, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down, step back to down dog. Settle in here. Find your breath. And inhale, reach your right leg high in the air. Exhale, bring your right knee to your right wrist. Set up for pigeon. Maybe walk your left foot back towards the back of your mat. Check in. Make sure your foot isn't sickling in, straight, pointing, your toes are pointing back towards the back of your mat. Sit up nice and tall, keeping your spine straight. Slowly lower your chest down towards the mat. You can stack your hands, place your head on your forearms or the mat. Come into pigeon. Settle in here. We're here for 5 more slow, deep breaths. Start to rise back up, ground down through your palms, tuck your left toes under, step back to down dog. Maybe pedal your feet here, releasing any tension you're feeling in your hips, and then settle into stillness. Extend your left leg high in the air. Bring your left knee to your left wrist. Set up for pigeon. Walk your right foot back. Sit up nice and tall. Keeping your back straight, lower your chest down to the mat. Rest your head on your forearms or the mat. Soften in. Stay with me for 5 more slow, deep breaths. Start to rise back up. Bring your palms down to the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Lift back to down dog. Maybe pedal your feet, walk your hips out here. And then settle into stillness. Lower your knees down to the mat. Come over to a seated position. Knees pointing up towards the sky. Slowly lower all the way down to supine position. Soles of your feet are flat on the mat, knees pointing towards the sky. Take a moment to pause here. And then ground down through your soles of your feet. Slowly lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Tighten through your glutes. Interlace your fingers, walk your shoulder blades together. Opening through your heart, come into bridge pose. Take a moment to settle in. Push up through your hips. Tighten your glutes. We're here for 5 more slow, deep breaths. Release your hands, walk your shoulders out. Slowly lower down 1 vertebrae at a time, bring your hips down last. You can windshield wiper your knees from side to side. And come back to stillness in the middle. You have the option to do just as we did, or you can take a restorative bridge if you have a block near you just by placing the block under your sacrum. Or if wheel is in your practice, feel free to come into wheel. Whatever you choose to do, go ahead and set up now. If you're following along with me, we're going to push down through the soles of our feet, lift our hips up towards the sky, squeeze our glutes, interlace our fingers, walk our shoulder blades together, opening through the heart. Focus in on your breath. We're here for 5 more slow, deep breaths. Release your hands, walk your shoulders out. Slowly lower all the way down, bring your hips down last. You may windshield wiper your knees from side to side if that feels good. And come back to stillness in the middle. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Extend both feet up towards the sky. Bring your palms down towards your hips, palms facing up towards the sky. Stay here in legs up the wall. Or you can come into any inversion you would like. Maybe come into plow or shoulder stand, headstand. If that is in your practice, I invite you to do whatever inversion serves you today. You also have the option to put your legs up a physical wall if you're close to one for more of a restorative position. We'll stay here for 5 more slow, deep breaths. And hug both knees in towards your chest. Maybe rock side to side. Bring your arms out to a T. Shins are parallel to the mat. Slowly sink your knees over towards the left side of your mat. Gaze over your right shoulder. Come into supine twist. And with control, lift your knees back to center. Pause here in the middle. And then drop your knees over towards the right side of your mat. Gaze over your left shoulder. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And bring your knees back to center. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze. You can rock side to side. Maybe reach around and grab for the outside edges of your feet or your hamstrings and come into happy baby. At this time, if there's any asana you would like to do to complete your practice today, I invite you to do so. And when you're ready, make your way into Shavasana. Maybe lay your feet out wide, letting your feet flop open, toes open to the sides. Moving away any tension that you're feeling. And settle in. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of your body pressing into the mat. Feel your practice settling into your body. relaxing in. Soften through your eyes. Soften between your eyes. Relax your mouth and your jaw. Relax your throat and your shoulders. Softening through your upper arms, your elbows. Relaxing your forearms and your wrists. Softening through your hips, your glutes, and your thighs. Relaxing your fingers and your knees. Softening through your calves and your ankles. Relaxing your feet and your toes. Letting it all go. Maybe invite movement into your fingers and your toes. Maybe circle your ankles and your wrists. Moving your body in whatever way feels good for you. Maybe that's stretching your arms overhead or hugging your knees into your chest. When you're ready, make your way over to your right side. And then make your way up to a seated position. Close your eyes and bring your hands to heart center. Take a moment to draw on your intention and make a conscious note to practice that intention throughout today. Yoga teaches us a lot on our mat, but the greatest lessons are the things we can take off our mat into the world. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. The light in me sees and honors the light in each one of you. Namaste.